It's June 2015. A YouTube channel which went by the name of Obscure Horror Corner uploads a video titled Sad Satan. At first it seems like a rather strange, unsettling, but a non-harmful video. But this would lead to arguably internet's darkest video game to be ever created. The channel's creator claimed they had stumbled upon the game via a link shared on the dark web. This claim alone sparked intrigue, as the dark web is synonymous with mystery, illegal activity, and hidden horrors. When you click on the video, you're rather met with a strange audio playing behind. Well, if you're wondering, the game's title itself is said to originate from a bizarre interpretation of reversed audio from the song Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. What truly caught people's attention was the cryptic and disturbing nature of the gameplay. As the YouTuber played through the game, they shared clips that showcased dimly lit corridors, distorted sounds, and strange flashes of images. The seemingly aimless wandering and lack of a clear goal left viewers unnerved, as did the bizarre and sinister audio-visual elements. The idea that a game like this could exist on the dark web, a realm already shrouded in ominous rumors, made it an instant urban legend. What even is the game about? At its core, Sad Satan is a walking simulator, a game where the player's primary activity is exploration. But what sets it apart is its relentless ability to create discomfort. The environment is made up of narrow, dark corridors with flickering lights and minimal detail, creating a claustrophobic and oppressive atmosphere. The chaotic mix of distorted voices, reversed music, faint whispers, and high-pitched screams. Occasionally, garbled fragments of recognizable songs can be heard, often in reverse or heavily manipulated, heightening the sense of unease to anybody playing the game. If you thought it only ended at the audio, the visuals get even more terrifying. As players navigate the hallways, disturbing images occasionally flash on the screen, and images with unclear significance. The abruptness and randomness of these flashes are designed to catch players off guard, adding to the disorientation. It's a game with no clear motive. The monotony is occasionally interrupted by cryptic text and incomprehensible visual clues. The game appears to prioritize psychological horror over traditional scares. If you thought it was disturbing enough, the rumored gore version makes it just as much as worse than it already is. Sudden flashes of images and videos of gore and disturbing, violent acts followed by references to including distressing audio and imagery, making the already disturbing video game much worse. The mystery of Sad Satan remains unsolved, and perhaps that's what makes it so effective. By blending minimalist gameplay with cryptic and disturbing content, the game taps into the three deepest fears: the unknown, the unexplainable, and the unsettling feeling that something is just wrong. Whether it's a genuine artifact from the dark web or an elaborate hoax, one thing is certain. Sad Satan has left a chilling mark on internet culture, and its legend continues to grow. In 1981, a mysterious arcade cabinet began appearing in select gaming arcades in Portland. The game, called Polybius, reportedly attracted long lines of players, all of whom became strangely obsessed with it. However, the gameplay came at a sinister cost. The game Polybius has captivated conspiracy theorists and gamers alike for decades. Unlike most games, its fame isn't tied to groundbreaking graphics or gameplay, it's tied to mystery. According to urban legend, it caused players to suffer from seizures, hallucinations, and memory loss, with some even claiming it was part of a government experiment. The name Polybius adds an intriguing layer to the mystery. Polybius was a Greek historian known for his works on cryptography and data transmission fields that resonate with the game's supposed mind-altering properties. Some believe the name was chosen deliberately to hint at the game's connection to secret government experiments involving subliminal messaging and behavioral manipulation, while others claim it was just a faulty arcade game with over-exaggerated effects. There has been farther theories made which claims that Polybius was part of MK Ultra, the infamous CIA mind control program. Advocates of this theory argue that the game's subliminal effects and alleged government monitoring fit with known ultra tactics, which included using sensory overload and drugs to manipulate behavior. Although no actual footage or screenshots of Polybius have been verified, descriptions of its gameplay are unsettling. It ranges from disturbing flashes of images to sound effects containing subliminal messages. Whether Polybius was real, a hoax, or a cautionary tale, its story continues to captivate us. It's a chilling reminder of our fascination with the unknown and our unease with technology. The legend of Polybius speaks to our deepest fears about control, addiction, and the thin line between entertainment and exploitation. In 2017, a mysterious YouTube channel began uploading videos of what appeared to be gameplay from a long-forgotten PlayStation 1 game called Petscop. At first glance, Petscop seemed like a quirky and unfinished game about capturing cute creatures in colorful environments. However, as the videos progressed, it became clear there was something much darker lurking beneath the surface. Petscop wasn't just a game. It was a cryptic narrative about trauma, abuse, and death, all wrapped in layers of surreal puzzles and eerie messages. Despite being a work of fiction, Petscop left viewers wondering if real events or hidden tragedies inspired the game. The supposed protagonist of Petscop was Paul, a player who narrated his experiences as he explored the strange, incomplete world of the game. At first, the game's cheerful aesthetic seemed innocent enough. Players wandered through something known as the gift plane, which was a simple environment designed to capture pets. But things turned sinister when Paul uncovered a hidden area called the Newmaker Plane. The cheerful vibe disappeared, replaced by unsettling music, cryptic messages, and a foreboding sense of dread. This new area was barren, with dimly lit rooms and disturbing objects. The pets here were no longer playful, and they seemed tied to the themes of neglect and suffering. Now, if you look at YouTube, there are very few videos of this claim. However, users reported disturbing visuals and audio. There were some strange snippets of dialogue that were fragmented but evocative, leaving viewers with a sense of unease. One such snippet I found was on Reddit in r/Petscop, where a user posted a picture of the gameplay that had the words, "You were blind. At some point, your movements stopped making sense." Unlike other gaming mysteries, Petscop is definitively fictional. It was created by Tony Domenico, who developed it as an experimental project blending storytelling, game design, and internet culture. Domenico designed the gameplay to appear as if it were from an authentic PS1 game, complete with glitches, graphical imperfections, and an eerie soundtrack. However, the blurred lines between reality and fiction are what made Petscop so compelling. Even after the creator's identity was revealed and Petscop was confirmed as a fictional work, its chilling narrative continues to haunt the gaming community. Was Petscop a commentary on the darker aspects of human psychology? A critique of nostalgia and media consumption? Or simply a well-crafted horror story designed to make us uncomfortable? Perhaps we may never find out. In the early 1980s, a mysterious video game called Kill Switch allegedly surfaced, shrouded in mystery and controversy. Unlike other games of its time, Kill Switch was said to be unplayable after a single session. Once the player completes or fails at the game, it erases itself from existence, leaving no evidence behind. This bizarre mechanic and its chilling narrative thrust the game into urban legend status, raising questions about its purpose, origins, and whether it even existed. Kill Switch was reportedly developed in 1989 by a small, obscure Soviet company called Karvina Corporation. The game's storyline revolved around the ruins of a coal mine, where players could choose between two characters. Porto, a human woman tasked with solving puzzles, collecting evidence, and unraveling the mystery of the mine's collapse, and Gast, a demonic entity with immense power but no clear objectives. What set Kill Switch apart was its oppressive atmosphere and its narrative, which blurred the lines between reality and the supernatural. The game delved into themes of industrial corruption, existential dread, and humanity's destructive tendencies, offering a deeply unsettling experience. Players described eerie visuals of abandoned machinery, flickering lights, and haunting audio that added to the oppressive mood. But Kill Switch's most infamous feature was its ability to erase itself entirely once the game ended. Once completed or abandoned, the game's files would allegedly vanish, leaving no trace. Although the question arises, why would anyone make a one-time use game? Some people believe Kill Switch was an experiment in gaming psychology, testing how players would react to a game they could only experience once. Would it heighten the emotional stakes? Would players cherish the experience more? Meanwhile, the other side of the spectrum lied people who believed that it was a part of a psychological experiment or propaganda effort, considering given the Soviet origins. The unsettling themes and ephemeral nature of Kill Switch may have been intended to manipulate or study players' reactions. After researching for a bit, I found out that Kill Switch was in fact just an urban legend. The story Kill Switch is from a book called Melancholy of Mecha Girl. It was examined by American students and never mentions being released in Soviet Russia, and also says that slow MIDI versions of Czech folk songs play. Whether real or imagined, Kill Switch endures as one of the most captivating gaming mysteries. Its haunting themes, self-destructive mechanic, and Soviet-era mystique make it a perfect tale for the internet age. A chilling reminder of the impermanence of media and the lengths we'll go to preserve stories, even if they never existed. Released in 1989 for the NES by Rare. Taboo, The Sixth Sense stands out as one of the most bizarre titles of its era. While most games on the console were action-packed platformers or puzzlers, Taboo offered something entirely different. A digital tarot reading experience. Described as more of a fortune-telling tool than a traditional video game, Taboo promised to answer players' deepest questions about life, love, and destiny. However, its unsettling atmosphere, cryptic messages, and eerie accuracy in some cases earned it a reputation as one of the most unsettling and mysterious NES titles ever made. Unlike most NES games, Taboo didn't involve any gameplay in the traditional sense. The game would then use tarot cards to provide a reading, complete with foreboding music and ominous imagery. The game's tarot deck was based on real-world traditions, and the interpretations of the cards were strikingly detailed. Players were greeted with predictions that often included cryptic phrases, dark warnings, and even mentions of death, something that stood out in an era when family-friendly content was the norm for Nintendo. Adding to the mystique, Taboo would provide players with so-called lucky numbers, supposedly for use in lotteries. This odd inclusion made the game feel like it straddled the line between entertainment and something more metaphysical. One of the most infamous aspects of Taboo was its willingness to predict death. In a medium dominated by cheerful mascots and heroic quests, Taboo would calmly warn players of their mortality or suggest that they were heading toward dark outcomes. In a medium dominated by cheerful mascots and heroic quests, Taboo would calmly warn players of their mortality or suggest that they were heading toward dark outcomes. For many, this crossed a line, making the game feel genuinely sinister. Though the game was programmed to provide randomized tarot readings, some players reported eerily accurate predictions that seemed to align with their real lives. These anecdotes fueled the game's mystique, with some wondering if it was more than just a digital gimmick. In the late 1980s, video games were already under scrutiny, and a game that openly delved into divination added fuel to the fire. Taboo was criticized for introducing children to esoteric practices, with some claiming it was a gateway to darker spiritual realms. Tarot and fortune-telling had a niche appeal in the late 1980s, and Taboo tapped into that interest. However, the game's limited functionality and dark tone made it a commercial oddity rather than a mainstream hit. It's likely that Taboo was meant as a novelty, but its unsettling presentation turned it into something much more infamous. Was Taboo, The Sixth Sense, merely a quirky experiment, or was it something more profound? The game's cryptic messages and eerie atmosphere continue to spark curiosity and unease decades after its release. Whether you believe in tarot or not, Taboo challenges us to confront the unknown and perhaps to question what we seek when we ask the future for answers. Berzerk, a fast-paced arcade game by Stern Electronics, was released to critical acclaim. Players stepped into a futuristic labyrinth to battle deadly robots while evading the relentless antagonist, Evil Otto, a grinning, bouncing face that became an icon of 1980s gaming. But Berzerk gained a reputation beyond its addictive gameplay. It became infamous for a chilling legacy, 2 real-life deaths linked to playing the game. These tragic incidents cemented Berzerk as one of the first video games with an eerie connection to real-world events, earning it a spot in gaming folklore as a killer arcade game. The premise of Berzerk was straightforward. The player navigates a maze filled with hostile robots, avoiding walls that electrocute on contact and Evil Otto, who pursues relentlessly. The tension increased with each level as Evil Otto sped up, pressuring players to act quickly or be annihilated. Berzerk's minimalist design and challenging mechanics made it a massive hit, but its simplicity also masked the potential for stress and adrenaline spikes in its players, a factor that would take on a grim significance. The first tragedy started off with a guy named Jeff Daly. A 19-year-old arcade enthusiast made headlines when he tragically died after achieving a high score of 16,660 points on Berzerk. Shortly after setting the score, Daly reportedly suffered a heart attack and passed away. The suddenness of Daly's death shocked the gaming community, raising questions about the intense stress and physical strain that could accompany high-stakes gameplay. While heart attacks in teenagers are rare, Daly's passing was an eerie omen for what would come next. Less than a year later, 18-year-old Peter Burkowski met a similar fate. Burkowski was a talented gamer who visited an arcade in Calumet City, Illinois, and began playing Berzerk. He achieved 2 high scores quickly, entering his initials onto the leaderboard. Moments later, Burkowski collapsed from a heart attack and died. Like Daly, he had no prior history of heart problems. His death was officially attributed to cardiac arrest, but the circumstances occurring just minutes after playing Berzerk fueled a lot of speculation. The deaths tied to Berzerk quickly turned the game into an urban legend. Stories circulated about other players experiencing heart palpitations, dizziness, or anxiety while playing. Arcades began to warn players to take breaks and avoid playing for extended periods, reflecting how gaming culture was evolving in response to health concerns. After researching this topic for a bit, it was proven that Peter already had a pre-existing heart condition which may have worsened while playing the game. Although that case was debunked, Berzerk stands out as a chilling reminder of how real life can intrude on even the most unbelievable experiences.